Welcome back to ARC Tutorials. In today's episode, we are going to take a look at the top 10 resume mistakes that at least 70% people make. These are the top reasons why your resume is not shortlisted or is often being overlooked by the recruiters. At the end of this tutorial, I'm sure you will have 10 takeaways that you need to correct in your resume and make sure that you have a killer resume. Let's get started. The most important thing about a professional resume is that it makes it for the first good impression. Even before a recruiter talks to you or gets to know you personally, your resume is the first thing they will see. And hence, avoiding common mistakes is something that is the most crucial and critical step towards working on a resume. Let's get started. Some of the basic things I'll talk first, which are with respect to formatting and including some of the basic elements. A lot of times, the font that is used in the resume is not professional. Always use a simple professional font like a Arial or a Times New Roman, which is easily available in everybody's system, as well as it is decent enough to the eyes for reading. Clumsiness in the resume and not having extra or including white space around it makes it difficult to read. And also, I have seen resumes which float with so many job responsibilities and description about the project and not talking much about your skills. So we'll start with these three basic things first. Let's clean up the resume for these three things, which is having a professional font, including enough white spaces for readability, and keeping it short, meaningful sentences. These are the three basic things that you need to have in your resume. Alright, so before we start with the top 10 list, let me tell you this. Honesty is the first chapter in the book of wisdom, which means at any cost, always be honest, always be transparent with your own skills, experience, relevance on your resume. Never lie on a resume because when you lie, you will get caught, if not today, soon. Okay? Alright, so the first mistake that we do in resumes is typos and grammatical errors. There is an easy plugin called grammarly.com. Install that and you can check all the mistakes, grammatical mistakes, typos, etc. in your resume. Make sure that you clean them up and make it look professional. The next mistake that most people do is not having contact details which are up to date. Email address should be the most recent one. Avoid email address which may sound like Romeo at hitmeup.com or something like that, right? So avoid such kind of email addresses. Have a decent phone number. Provide your LinkedIn profile for verification. When you provide social links like LinkedIn, it gives more credibility to your resume. Being too generic. Now, if you did a copy paste work in your resume, taking someone else's details, adding some generic one will not take you anywhere. Recruiters, technical recruiters, HRs are all looking for specific skill sets. If you're applying for an Angular developer job, make sure that you write about your experience on Angular and surrounding technologies and frameworks like say Bootstrap, say Material UI, Karma, Jasmine, testing, those things. That means be specific to your job role and don't be generic like I am a developer. Being a developer doesn't add much of a value unless you tell them that you are an Angular developer. Including irrelevant data. Now nobody's interested in seeing your hobbies, your achievements. You did great dance, TikTok or Instagram. Nobody cares that. Don't add any of those data which is irrelevant on your resume. Stick to precise, clear, crisp data. The next is using a hard to difficult to read format. Right now, this is something that I'm finding it difficult to even tell you, but a lot of people do that. They choose a format which is cluttered, which is confusing, which is not readable. When you scroll, it breaks, etc. etc. Use a simple template, show the main highlights of your data, and then proceed from there. So remember, when you're choosing, always choose readability as the first priority in your resume. Focusing too much on duties and not enough on achievements. Now, this is something that I tell a lot of people when I review resumes. Don't add about the project. Nobody is interested in knowing the project. Everybody is interested in knowing what you did in the project, right? If you write 20 things that you did in a project, it's hard to believe, right? But if you say that I was working on 5 core modules and these are the stuff that I built, libraries, modules, components, etc. Those are your achievements on the project. Don't talk about the entire project, what the entire project was about and all that jargon. That won't take you anywhere. Including personal information. While there are certain personal information that would be required for a job, let's say you're on-site and you have some visa transfers, if you add that information, that makes sense. Having marital status, age, religious beliefs, etc., etc., won't help. They are not required. They are irrelevant data. Don't add personal information at all unless they ask you explicitly in an email or during a communication. Okay. Now, being too long or too short. Now, this is totally judgmental. Okay. Your resume should not be too long or it should not be too short. Okay. The ideal size of a resume is 2 page. You should be able to summarize all your work experience, skill set, experiences in 2 page. Okay, so try to keep it up to 2 page, and that should be good enough length. Don't make it 7 page resume. Don't make it like a half-page resume. It doesn't make sense. Not customizing your resume for the job. Now, this point I touched based a little bit earlier, which is when you're applying for a job, don't send generic email to like 20 recruiters. Right now, you're in one place you're applying for a Angular developer, in other place you're applying as a UI developer. So make sure that your resume reflects those highlights. Don't create a generic resume. That's laziness. Okay, if you're serious about a job, you need to get better at creating those resumes and keep them handy. Okay. The last one is not proofreading your resume. Now, this is something that I have seen a lot of people make this mistake. In fact, in some resumes that I shortlist or I have screened, I can tell you the name of the profile, the resume was something else, but the description that was written or skill set was of someone else. Clearly, it looked like a copy paste job. Now, the first thing you do is once you say that my resume is ready, do proofread it. Proofread is nothing but going through your resume word by word and making sure it's making sense to whoever is reading. Not too much, not too long, not too short, crisp, clear information. That's what we are looking for. Don't forget to proofread your resume. Finally, I would like to say that spend time working on your resume. If you're serious about your job, it's your first impression. Your resume is your first impression. Spend some time, work on it, refine it. If you need my help in reviewing it, if you need my help in helping you review your resume, add some content, please reach out to me in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to help you. That being said, I've covered the top 10 mistakes that most people make. I hope that you are not one among them after this particular tutorial. Do let me know your thoughts, your comments, your feedback about this tutorial in the comment section. I am eagerly waiting to read them. Thank you so much for joining in this episode. I'll see you in the next episode with more such content for you. Please do subscribe, like, and share the video.